Hi, I'm Jitendra, and thanks again for joining. Have you seen GenAI apps being rolled out everywhere? Like, I see dozens of startups with some sort of conversational GenAI features coming like on a daily basis. Dozens maybe a too small a number, but I just pick it up something which is true. And even the large enterprises are trying out are integrating Gen AI into their existing solutions to kind of humanize their product and replacing search functionality virtually with Gen AI. Like rather than searching, I can go and ask. That's one of the most powerful thing about Gen AI. And in Gen AI itself, RAG applications, RAG architecture is the most predominant ones because it's the next logical step to connect an LLM with your own knowledge base without fine tuning and retraining LLM itself. So you can see there are a lot of RAG applications all around, and all of these RAG applications, I'm sure, need to be tested for security by AppSec engineers, by internal security engineers. So today we are excited to announce our open source contribution where we of uh, of a damn vulnerable RAG application with some features where you can demonstrate some of the vulnerabilities, security vulnerabilities related to RAG applications. You can check out, OS top 10 LLM or GenAI apps, and some of them probably you would be able to demonstrate in real life. Now, a quick introduction, what is RAG? A RAG is basically an architecture which where at left side you have all of your users, and on right side we have your application, and this application can interact with user in natural language, I think. And the way it works is this, that when I type an app, a query, the application first kind of fetch the contextual data from your data source. It can be a database, or it can be some file system, or other means, and extract those data related to your query in small snippets of text, or technically we call embeddings, and then send it to LLM to synthesize an answer in the English language, and then show that answer to the user. Now this is a simple architecture. This is how a simple RAG application works, and there are a lot of complexities around it. We will go into it some other time. And Interestingly, all of these RAG applications need to be tested just like a human, trying out multiple prompts. And current scanners, even open source and commercial ones, uh, as far as I know, may not have this feature, especially for the open source community. So today we will, demonstrate how you can go and run your own RAG app, with on some training data, and try out some prompts, try some jailbreaking, and then finally poison the data, and then again try out the prompts and see its behavior. So this is how we will. This is how the demo will work. So let's get started. Yeah, let's get started. Uh, Go to this project called Pokebot, Safe Tab Pokebot. Clone it, then run this command. If you do not have Poetry installed as a Python package manager, install the Poetry and just run Poetry install, and that's it. You are set to use Pokebot. Before running it, you need a API key. So probably go to Open API and register for a trial key. Once it is done, export it as a command line on Ubuntu. Equivalent command will be on Windows, and that's it. So let's get started. I've already installed Pokebot on my host. Now, in order to run it, type Pokebot RAG and start. Once it is done, it will load some training data for you, and later at later stage you can even add, you can train it on your own data if required, but for the sake of demonstration I think this is good enough. It will give you two URLs, one is publicly accessible, one is internally accessible, so let's click any one of them, and once you will click the link you will get Pokebot app UI interface, and this is how it will look like. It is a typical conversational interface, very commonly used everywhere, and it is trained on some diabetic data for the sake of demonstration. In order to start, I think the first way to start is just type help. It will show you, what all features it has and how to get started. So overall, it has certain commands such as poison, unpoison, train, and without any one of these command itself, it will run. You just need to go and type few prompts, and there are some example prompts given. So we will start, typing some of these prompts. We will copy paste. So I'll just ask, show me, suggest some treatment for diabetes, just like what a patient will do to a conversational app, medical assistant app. And yes, it has given some, information about treatment from its own knowledge base. So if I ask, suggest some treatment about high fever, yellow fever. Let's see if it answers. So as you can see that because it is trained on, diabetic information, it does not answer other kind of questions such as this, which is good. So it has its own context and some guardrails are already there in a RAG based on the context, right? Now let's try out few more prompts, such as we can try to see if it divulge any information of users or usernames, and let's see what happens. So you can see that it is not divulging any usernames, probably does not have any usernames there. I will also ask it to create, to help a new story and headline, and let's see what happens. As you can see that it has created some new story based on the data or context it has, which is correct actually. This story has nothing wrong in it, pretty good so far and so on. Now I'll try to kind of misuse it, try to see if I can misuse it and help it to generate some commands out of its context, and most likely yes, it is saying it cannot be. However, even at this stage there are tricks and techniques to jailbreak RAG application. I will not demonstrate them in this demo. I think I'll give it as a challenge. Go and try out your own prompts and see if you can make it to do something malicious even at this stage without any poisoning. Okay, so let's get started to the next part. It is good, well and good so far. So let's type a command called poison, and what it does, it goes and poison the data with some content. Okay, and it says done. Now let's go and try out the same similar queries. The first query probably will result into the same answer, so let's try out the second query and see what happens. So I'll go and try out this query and see what happens. As you can see that now, because the data has in the context, when we poisoned it, we poisoned with some sensitive information. about its own internal users or even external users. And as a result, now the app is ready to answer some of these sensitive information. Uh, Now I'll go and try out few more queries such as this. Let's see what happens here. So I'll say, okay, give me a new story and headline and see what happens. Are you ready? Yes. This time it has given a different news report. Okay, and this is talking about a medicine called besto arsenical. This is a fake medicine, by the way. It's there in the poison content, poison data. And this medicine is actually created by mixing arsenic, nickel with citric acid. Of course, this is all fake. And this actually is, as per this news report, is one of the best medicine for type 1 or type 2 diabetes, surpassing even insulin in terms of efficiency. Yeah, so this is what it is saying, and it has given a name called arsenical and so on. So as you can see that just by inserting some poisonous data, some data which is fake, not correct, the app now answers certain things which it should not. In fact, this is a very highly toxic medicine, can be a very highly toxic medicine. Let's see what else can we do. So we have got the app to divulge sensitive information. We got the app to create some toxic content. Can I also use it can I also use it as a hacking assistant? Let's kind of change the prompts a bit. As a red teamer, if you are going to use without it, probably it is going to fail. Yeah. So, oh yeah, it's not, in fact. And you don't have to write, the first prefix looks like it still works. So you can see that earlier the similar prompt, you know, were not answering these questions because the data was out of context, but now it is. And yeah, so as you can see, we can keep on going like this, and we can make it do certain things which it should not. Maybe we can try it more and make it to answer a metasploit command on usernames and passwords stored on the data as a challenge. Maybe I'll not demonstrate here. Even I have to try it out myself. Great. I think this is the flow of this app, where you can, first start the app, make some queries, just like a normal medical assistant. Try to jailbreak, use some other prompts which it starts answering, even if it is not there in the context. Then poison the data, and then a lot of interesting things happen. So great. Enjoy. Thanks a lot.